So welcome everyone. I want to say thank you for joining in on this virtual college exploration for North and South Carolina students, sponsored by the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan. So again, thanks for joining us. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphones are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at CACRAO.org. And again, this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at that same website, CACRAO.org. So now I'd like it to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and screen share real quick. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining in to learn more about Randolph-Macon College. My name is Faith Fox, and I'm an admissions counselor for Randolph-Macon and also a graduate of the college. I graduated with the class of 2019, and I am now a regional counselor. So even though I work for Randolph-Macon, I live and work out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work with all students from the southern region as well as central United States and out west as well. Also, I have Zion with me here today, and he'll give himself a little introduction.
How y'all doing? My name is Zion Dennis. I'm a senior from Sanford, North Carolina, but I currently also just moved to Charlotte as well. I'm an accounting major at Randolph-Macon, and I'm also a tour guide, and I play football there as well. So.
Wonderful, thanks, Zion. So we're gonna go through the presentation and you'll learn more about the town of Ashland, where Randolph-Macon is located, our school history, academics, student life, and the admissions process. And then you'll also learn from Zion and I about why we chose Randolph-Macon and a little bit more about Zion's student experience as well. So getting started, here are some of our buzzwords. A lot of these words you may have heard of before, or a lot of them are distinctive to Randolph-Macon. So I'll go through all of these throughout the presentation. But first, we'll start with the numbers. So we were founded in 1830, actually in Boynton, Virginia, which is really close to the border of North Carolina. And then we moved to Ashland in 1868. We have just around 1,600 students, and that breaks down to 53-47 female to male ratio. And 78% of our students come from the state of Virginia and 22% come from out of state. And that 22% of out of state students come from 30 different states and 22 different nations. So we have a good diverse mix of students on campus. About 23% of our students identify as being racially diverse. The first word that we'll go over is co-to. So I'm not sure if any of you have been to Ashland before, but Ashland is coined the center of the universe, or co-to as we call it. About 30 years ago, the mayor of Ashland coined that title for our town and no one disputed it, so it's stuck and it's trademarked now for Ashland. In the background, you can kind of see the Amtrak station that we have right in the middle of our campus. The train goes right through our campus. We have a train stop right on the corner of our campus, which is great for students who don't bring their car on campus, which you can all 4 years. But if you decide not to, it's really great to have that accessibility to go all up and down the East Coast on the train right outside of your door. I had a lot of friends in college who lived in Baltimore or Boston, and they wouldn't even bring their car on campus. They would just take the train home every break. So really convenient for students. If you go a little bit past the train station, that is where you'll run into the town of Ashland. Ashland is a little bit of a smaller town, close-knit community, lots of mom and pop shops, great places to eat and go shopping. But we also have a lot of national conveniences as well, such as Walmart, Starbucks, McDonald's, Cookout, all of those really important things as well. So it's a really nice blend, but we have a great relationship with the town of Ashland and the people in it. We have something every year called the Big Event, and that's where students will go out in the community and perform community service as a way to say thank you to the residents of Ashland for creating such a nice welcoming community for us. And in return, all the town of Ashland is welcome on our campus as well. So sometimes you might see an old couple walking their dogs or a family walking around, and they're not necessarily college students, but they're always welcome on our campus. Zion, do you want to talk about how you like being in the town of Ashland and our location?
Yeah, the town of Ashland is perfect, especially if you want that small town vibe. You want to get not really too much busy, you can really just chill and be like with your friends, in a small town, go to some nice little mom and pop shops around the area. But if you really just want that big city vibe, you also can go 15, 20 minutes right to Richmond.
Definitely. Thanks for saying that. So like you said, about 15, 20 minutes away is Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital of Virginia. And that's in the bottom picture that you can see here on the right. So there's so many fun things to do in Richmond, from shopping, concerts, festivals. We also see a lot of our alumni go to live in Richmond after they graduate. So having those alumni connections so close is really beneficial, especially when it comes to internships and just resources and networking and stuff like that. I actually did an internship in this twin building that you can see in the center of the picture. I did an internship in the one on the right with an alum, and I will discuss that when we talk about internships later on in the presentation. But then also just about an hour and a half from us up north is Washington, DC, so the nation's capital. And we have a lot of great relationships in DC as well, and something called the Washington Initiative, which is where faculty and staff can plan trips with students up to DC, whether it be for fun to go to some parks, the Cherry Blossom Festival, or for some experiential learning to go to museums and go to rallies and things like that. The Washington Initiative also helps students find housing when they do internships in DC as well. So we're really connected with the communities around us, and also in reference to our location, we're about an hour and a half from the beach in the east and an hour and a half away from the mountains in the west. So our location can appeal to lots of different types of people. So moving on to the academic experience, Randolph-Macon is a liberal arts and sciences institution, which means that aside from the classes that you'll be taking for your major or for your minor, you'll also be taking classes in all areas of knowledge so that you can have a really well-rounded education, which employers love to see, and also so that you're gaining really important skills such as communication, how to think critically, how to write effectively, which can transfer to any career field. So now for some fun facts about our academic experience at Randolph-Macon. I'm going to start on the left and then we'll work our way over to the right. We are 100% graduate assistant free. So this means you'll never have a teacher's assistant teaching your class or grading your papers. You'll always be a faculty member. 99% of our full-time faculty have their PhD. So they truly are the experts. They design the class, teach the material, grade your tests and papers, and they also hold office hours. So you can go talk to them if you ever have any questions. If you need a little bit of extra help with a part of what you're learning, if you want to go to them to talk about your future and the career field that you're going into, they're always there to talk to you. We also have an average class size of about 16 students. So it really gives you that opportunity to work one-on-one with your professor and with your classmates and have more discussion-based classes instead of just someone lecturing at you for an hour and a half. But I think if you ask students what's your favorite thing about Randolph-Macon, I bet a lot of them would say it's the relationships that we have with our professors. It's truly unique. They want to get to know you. They want to know what your learning style is, and they want to help you succeed as well. I had a lot of great experiences with my professors. I noticed that also a lot of professors will give out their cell phone numbers so they can be as accessible as possible. If you ever have questions, they want to be there to answer your questions. But Zion, speak about
I can relate the exact same way. Actually, Sakar, we were talking earlier, I actually have his number in my phone just to text him about anything with assignments and anything like that. So it's really helpful. And the relationship with the professor, they really want to get to know you because they really do want to help.
Definitely. There's also a lot of opportunities for research in your undergraduate at Randolph-Macon, which not a lot of students have the opportunity to do in their undergraduate, but at Randolph-Macon, we want to make that really accessible for students. And there's something called the Shapiro Undergraduate Research Fellowship, or SURF for short, and that's where students are paid to come back on campus over the summer and do their own research with the help of a faculty member. This can be any year that you're at Randolph-Macon, any major or minor at Randolph-Macon. You have the opportunity to do your own research, which you can put on your resume, talk about in interviews for grad school or jobs, and you can also go on to regional and national conferences and talk about these things. We have an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio, 50 plus majors, minors, and pre-professional programs, and some of our newer ones are cybersecurity, criminology, a new nursing program, engineering major. So we're definitely trying to stay up to date with what people are interested in studying. We are a recognized Phi Beta Kappa college, which is one of the most prestigious honor societies in America. The top 10% of colleges, or there's only the top 10% of the graduating class is inducted into Phi Beta Kappa. And the fact that we have one on our campus is just really special. 35% of Randolph-Macon students study abroad, which is pretty high above the national average of 10%. I think it's because Randolph-Macon presents students with a lot of opportunities to be able to study abroad. in our 414 academic calendar. So those numbers represent months. We have 4 months of our fall semester, which is pretty normal in most colleges, and 4 months of spring semester, which is also pretty normal. But then we have a 1-month term in the middle, which always falls in the month of January, or January term, as we call it, J term for short. So there's 3 options of what you can do during January term. Your first is an intensive study. So this is a semester's worth of material condensed into 1 month, which sounds pretty intensive, but that's why students will usually only take 1 class. So you're meeting every day, Monday through Friday, for about 2 hours a day, but it ends up being the same amount of time in the classroom as it would over the course of semester. Do you want to talk about the classes you've taken during J term?
Yeah, so I usually try to make my J term just like a really hard class that I don't want to take for a full semester. So my freshman year, I actually took I believe it was a psychology class because I have no interest in psychology. And then I went and took a macroeconomics class and an accounting class in all 3 of my J term classes. So I just tried to get a hard class out of the way.
I did something similar. I took a history class. I knew I just needed that time to give it my undivided attention because I'd probably do a little bit better in it then. But then on the flip side of that, my next January term, I took an accounting class because I thought accounting was really easy because I was a nerd like that. It was with my favorite professor, so I knew it was going to be a lot of fun. So 2 ends of the spectrum. Your second option during January term is to study abroad. So you can do a regular study abroad where you go away for a whole semester or a whole year. But a benefit to doing it during the January term is that everything is done in-house. So you're taking a Randolph-Macon course with your Randolph-Macon professor and your Randolph-Macon classmates and friends. And you're going abroad for about 3 weeks usually and submerging yourself in a different culture, learning about this new topic. So it's a really great opportunity for students, and a lot of students take advantage of it during January term. This is my friend Emily in the picture here. She went to Thailand, but I've had friends go to so many cool places: Cambodia, Spain, Belize, Iceland, Australia. So lots of opportunities for students.
Yeah, a lot of people went to Kenya as well.
Yeah, Kenya, that was it. They change it every J term. They usually offer a lot of the same courses, but then try and switch it up a little bit also. So Kenya was a really popular one this year. And then your third option during January term is to do an internship. So similar to study abroad, you can do a semester or a year-long internship. But a benefit to doing it during January term is you're getting that real world experience of going to work 9 to 5 for 40 hours a week. So you get to see what is it like to do this job day in and day out. And you're not alone to find these internships. Your professors and also our awesome Edge Career Center, which I'll talk about on the next slide, help students find internships anywhere that you want to go. So Zion, do you want to talk about your internship experience, finding an internship?
Yeah, so I haven't taken an internship yet, but I'm currently in the state of finding one, being a senior, to prepare for my term. And I've gone through and talked with a lot of my professors. We talked earlier about Professor Staples. She's asking me questions, seeing what I'm interested in, what I want to do like as a career, and trying to find the perfect internship to fit what I want to do. And I actually just had an internship an interview for an internship last week. So I'm just hoping I get that one too. So.
Yay. We'll definitely all hope for you. But I had a really similar experience being a business major. You had to do an internship to graduate, but my professors just asked me the types of things that I was interested in. I told them that I really liked nonprofit work, I liked higher ed, and they placed me at the Virginia Foundation for Independent Colleges with an alum. So it was a perfect fit for me. I didn't really have to stress that much, which was really helpful. So really good internship experiences. A lot of the popular places students will do internships is Richmond. Since we're so close, they can live on campus and then drive to work in the morning. But you can do an internship anywhere that you want. So a lot of students will also go to DC, New York City. There was a business student who did theirs in London, England. So literally anywhere that you want to, they can work with you. But those are your 3 options during January term. And if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them in Q&A, and we'll definitely be sure to look at them at the end of this presentation. Okay, so our Edge Career Center is my personal favorite thing about Randolph-Macon. It's also the reason that I decided to come to Randolph-Macon. They work with students all 4 years so that they make sure you are prepared for life after college. They are the application of your education because you're getting all the proper knowledge that you need in the classroom, and they're going to help you learn how to actually apply that education in the real world with all the tools that you need to succeed. They host a lot of career development programs each year, over 155. These range everything from a cover letter workshop, resume workshop, financial literacy workshop, so you can learn about establishing credit, establishing rent, how to buy your first house, buy your first apartment, your first car. So really important life skills that you need to know. Zion, what have you done with the Edge?
I sadly haven't done the career boot camp, but I do remember going to a resume workshop. I think it was Kathy, and she sat there with me for about 45 minutes to an hour and just getting all my information together and the formatting correctly and everything, and helped me build a strong resume. I actually that was my freshman year, and I still use that resume to this day. I just add on to it.
Wonderful. I definitely took advantage of the resume workshops, cover letter workshops. Ms. Kathy and the Edge will definitely help you get your resume right. But like Zion said, one of the most popular programs that the Edge hosts every year is the Career Boot Camp. And that is an opportunity for now sophomores to learn all the ins and outs of professional development and interviewing. So it is a weekend that is completely free for them, where they will get to go through workshops to learn about how to tell their story in an interview. When an interviewer says, "Tell me a little bit about yourself," you'll know what to say in that situation. You know how to dress for an interview, shake the hand properly, what side of your blazer to wear your name tag. And you also have an etiquette dinner, so you can learn which one's your bread plate, which one's your drink, which fork to use when, all of those things that you probably don't already know, but are really important to know for later on in your life. And then you learn all about interviewing, and you go through 3 mock interviews with alumni. And at the end, you just get to network with all the alumni. So it's a really great opportunity for students. I went through it my sophomore year, and I basically forced all my friends to go. I'm going to force Zion to do it at some point, but it's a great opportunity for students to just learn more about professional development. And it really does give you the edge, no pun intended, when you're getting ready to go into the workforce and competing with a lot of other graduates for jobs. So great opportunity for students. It's also ranked number 13 in the nation for career services. So they're doing amazing work. Speaking of our alumni helping out with the Edge, they are very connected on campus. We are ranked number 3 in Virginia and number 22 in the nation. And this is out of all public and private colleges for alumni giving participation. So I think this shows that students are having a great experience, that when they leave, they want to stay connected and they want to give back to ensure that other students have a great experience as well. Also, that students are becoming financially successful enough to be. But if you guys have the opportunity to come to campus and take a tour or watch our virtual tour, you'll see a lot of our buildings are named after people, and a lot of them look newer. We've done a lot of construction on campus, and all of those buildings are completely funded by alumni giving, friends of the college. Not a penny will ever come out of students' tuition to pay for those buildings. So while we're updating the campus, making it look really nice and pretty, we're not raising tuition each year to be able to afford it, which is really important. So we definitely like to highlight how connected our alumni are on our campus. Okay, so now for the fun stuff, YJ or Yellow Jacket experience. We have over 100 clubs and organizations, and these range everywhere from your math club to your fishing club to your Game of Thrones watch club. We got it all. And there's an activities carnival at the beginning of each year so that students can walk around, find out ways they can get involved. Of course, this year, everything is virtual. So we had a virtual activities carnival where students still get the opportunity to get involved outside the classroom and things that they're. Zion, are you involved in any clubs?
Yeah, like I said before, I play football, so that's probably my main priority that takes up most of my time. But I do have a lot of friends that didn't get opportunity to play sports. They actually made the Randolph-Macon soccer club team. They actually made that. A lot of my friends were a part of that team, and they get to go play the VCU club team, U of R club team, and other small schools around the area. And I'm also in a Black Culture Society, and that's just a great way to learn more about the Black culture and just meet with people on campus that are just like you, and really just discuss a lot of things that are going on with the world right now. So.
I think that also having a lot of opportunities for students to get involved in clubs presents itself a lot of opportunities for students to become leaders. When I was a student, I joined the Future Business Leaders of America. And then my senior year, I became the president of the club. So lots of ways to work your way up and get that leadership experience. We have 13 fraternities and sororities. About 30% of our campus is involved in Greek life. So if that's something you're interested in, we definitely have it on campus. And they do a lot of great work in our community and raise a lot of money for different philanthropic causes. We have 14 residence halls. We are a residential campus, which means that majority of students will live on campus all 4 years, and you're guaranteed housing all 4 years. Your senior year, you get a really nice senior apartment, which I'm really missing mine. They're just built a few years ago, and they're really nice. So really nice.
I'm mine right now.
Very jealous. So I love that we have all the students living on campus together, because there's always events going on, whether it be an athletic event, a game night, a guest lecturer coming to speak. So having all students on campus makes it really easy to facilitate those events. We have 18 varsity sports teams. We are Division III, a part of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. And we compete in all men, not all, we have 18 men's and women's sports. Zion plays football. I absolutely love the school spirit at Randolph-Macon. I did not play a sport myself, but I wanted to make sure I went to a school with a lot of school spirit. And I found that at Randolph-Macon, definitely. So Zion, do you have anything you want to say about athletics at Randolph-Macon?
Yeah, of course. The way we give back to the community, they give back by showing it in all sports. I know any game I've gone to, there's multiple like people that just like don't even go to make it, or not even parents of athletes. It's just people that just live in Ashland and they're there just supporting. Yeah, waking up on a game day is, God, you feel the energy from like the town, from the school, from everyone on campus. It's super exciting. It's super hype. And then just like when you get to run out and you see that, like, it's just packed fans, people come for the tailgates and everything. It's just a lot of support.
I loved one thing about athletics at Randolph-Macon that I loved was one, that they were all free to go to. So that's really nice. But also you were going to see a good game. While I was a student there, I watched our football, basketball, softball, baseball, all of them completely win the ODACs and go on to the NCAA tournament. So I'm going there to cheer on my friends because I actually know the players, have class with them, live down the hall from them. So I'm there to cheer them on, but I also am seeing a good game, which is awesome. But no matter what you take part in at Randolph-Macon, you'll most likely be doing some community service. And we are a very service-oriented community. We raised almost $50,000 for philanthropic causes and had just over 23,000 hours. And I think Zion's trying to remind me that I should bring up our big rival. So at Randolph-Macon, we have a really big rivalry with an all-male school in Virginia, Hampton-Sydney College. We save it for the last game of the season for our football team. It's called The Game. And Zion, I'll just let you talk about it since it's one of your favorite games, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite game. My favorite game ever being a part of, like any football level that I'm playing at. It's super intense. That game is probably about 1,600 students at the school. We can get about 10 to 15,000 people just for that game. If we're playing there or home, it's super intense. Everything around like the stadium is packed, from like the where the senior apartments are around it to being around the field. They bring in the extra stands for it. We've been playing them for over 100 years, the oldest small school rivalry in the South. So, and we've won the last 6 years, just throw that in there. But yeah.
Can't forget that. So everyone will have to travel to campus and see the big game ball trophy that has been sitting in our showcase for 6 years now. But thanks for the reminder. But we have a lot of great opportunities for students to get involved in things that they're passionate about outside the classroom at Randolph-Macon. Okay, so now for the admissions timeline. Before we get into all of that, I just want to make everyone aware that at Randolph-Macon, we have moved to a test optional admissions policy. We understand that due to the effects of COVID-19 on everyone's life, it would benefit a lot of people to go test optional, make it a lot easier, especially with test dates being canceled for SAT and ACT. So we're trying to be as accommodating as possible. We also have a website, Protect the Hive, where you can go and look at all the updates we've made on our campus to be compatible and safe for students, faculty, and staff to be on campus right now. But we're also accepting pass-fail coursework. So we just want to be as accommodating as possible for students as we're moving through this new crazy times that we're in. But we hope you enjoy everything you hear about Randolph-Macon, and hopefully you get to see campus and you think it's absolutely beautiful like we do. And there's two forms of our application as ways that you can apply to Randolph-Macon. First is on our website, and then secondly, we are members of the Common App. Both applications are free for us, and we get the same information from both. So it's really up to you, whichever one you decide to use. Things we're looking for in your applications, mostly your courses and your grades. So your transcript, we want to see what classes you're taking, if you're challenging yourself at all with any AP, IB, honors, dual enrollment, whatever your high school may offer, and what grades you're receiving in those classes. Like I said, SAT or ACT scores are optional this year. A personal statement or an essay. So this is a part of the application. And there are many different prompts that you can choose from. But we hope that you let yourself shine here. We want to learn new things about you that we don't see in other parts of your application. A letter of recommendation, and we ask that it be from someone who can speak to your academic abilities. So a teacher or a guidance counselor. However, if you have a coach or a boss or mentor that wants to write one as well, you can send those in. all of your extracurricular involvement. I hope you list everything. We just want to get to know you as best as possible. So whether it is community service, part-time job, a club, a YouTube channel link, we just want to get to know you as best as possible. College transcripts, if applicable, for transfer students. And then we also have an optional interview. So it is optional, but we do recommend it. It's a great way for you to get to know your admissions counselor. They'll ask you fun questions about your high school experience. If you feel the need to, you can advocate for yourself on some areas of your transcript and just get to ask questions and get to know Randolph-Macon a little bit better. Some deadlines for everyone to keep in mind. Our early action deadline is November 15th, and we'll guarantee a decision for you by January 1st. At Randolph-Macon, we do not have early decision, which is a binding contract. Early action is just you applying earlier and we let you know earlier. That's all. If you want a little bit more time to weigh your options, our regular decision deadline is March 1st, and we'll guarantee a decision for you by April 1st, which gives you just enough time because the national deposit deadline is May 1st, which is the last day you have to let whatever college you decide to know that they can be expecting you in the fall. And then there are dates for our transfer students as well. But now let's talk about money and affordability. So this chart on the right shows Randolph-Macon's total cost in comparison to an average in-state college. It's a pretty significant difference, about $30,000. However, our average financial aid package is about $30,000, so how convenient. And I'll break down our financial aid on the next slide. But looking at the numbers on the left, our total cost this year, and this is everything, room, board, tuition, fees, everything except for books, was just over $57,000. However, with our average financial aid package being about $30,000, it made our average net price for freshmen this year just over $27,000, excluding any loans. So for an average in-state college, it's right around $25,000, $26,000. So we're very comparable with them. And over 95% of our families receive some form of aid. There is something called the VTAG, or the Virginia Tuition Assistance Grant. That's for any Virginia resident pursuing a private education in Virginia. But it's not fair for only Virginia residents to get a grant. So we have a very similar out-of-state grant as well for our out-of-state students. We understand that your money is valuable and you are investing in Randolph-Macon, which is why Randolph-Macon is also investing in you with a 4-year degree guarantee. So on a national average, it's actually taking students about 5.5 years to complete their bachelor's degree nowadays, which is absolutely crazy. But at Randolph-Macon, you're going to sign a contract with you, your parents, and a member of our cabinet that says they guarantee you'll graduate in 4 years. As long as you meet all your academic requirements on time and meet with your advisor when you're supposed to, they guarantee you'll graduate in 4 years. So you can get onto the workforce or get onto grad school. So now breaking down our financial aid package into merit-based aid and need-based aid. For merit-based aid, all applicants are considered for merit-based aid just by applying to Randolph-Macon. If you are accepted, you'll be notified in your acceptance letter how much you'll be awarded a merit-based aid, and it can be one of the 3 following: the Dean's Award, which goes up to $20,000, the Trustees Award, which goes up to $21,000, and the Presidential Award, which goes up to. If you get the Trustees or Presidential, you're invited to interview for additional award money. Which if you got the Trustees, you could interview for an additional $2,500. And if you got the Presidential, you could interview for the potential of up to full tuition. And then for need-based aid, this comes from the FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You can apply for this as early as October 1st of your senior year, but some families don't do it. They don't think that they'll get any money, but we highly recommend that you do. We actually have a FAFSA filer incentive of $1,000. So each year that you fill out the FAFSA for Randolph-Macon, they'll tack on an extra $1,000 to your financial aid package. So we definitely encourage that you do. Now, these are all of our amazing admissions counselors at Randolph-Macon. I am the counselor that works with students from the Carolinas, so I would be your admissions counselor, but we're all happy to talk with any students. If you ever have any questions throughout the process, want to learn more about Randolph-Macon or find out more ways that you can get connected with campus, just reach out to any of us and we will be more than happy to help you. Definitely follow us on social media as well. Here are some of our tags for Snapchat, Instagram, things like that, but we're always posting updates from our campus, student takeovers, so you can see what is a typical day for a student at Randolph-Macon like, and just other important information about upcoming events and stuff like that. But before we close out here, I'm gonna stop screen share, and Zion and I would love to tell you guys a little bit about why we chose Randolph-Macon and why we stayed at Randolph-Macon, why I chose to graduate from Randolph-Macon. But Zion, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Yeah, so I chose Randolph-Macon because Randolph-Macon about the same size about my high school. So as soon as I came, I felt comfortable and seeing the class sizes. I'm an in-class learner, hands-on learner. So being able to know that I'll be taught by a professor, not a TA, being able to be in classroom with not 300, 400 people, it was a lot better. It felt more comfortable for me, especially my academic side. And then athletics-wise, we've come to a good team with good support from our community and everything. And I love the town of Ashland. It's I said I'm a small town guy, so I love just the feel of it. I felt very comfortable at home, and then just coming on campus, meeting all the staff and everything, they just made me feel wanted. Honestly, really made me feel like they wanted me to come there. So, and then I also talked to Barkley in the bookstore. If you haven't met her yet, you'll meet her eventually if you come on campus. But she's a good recruiter.
This Berkeley is amazing. But I spoke a little bit about why I chose Randolph-Macon earlier, but really the, excuse me, the small town really appealed to me. I also came from a small town, so I liked that it was a close-knit community. Everyone kind of looked out for each other. Everyone cared about each other. And also the Edge Career Center, the fact that they were going to help me with all of these tools. They were going to help me find internships. I felt like I was going to be really successful there. And the proximity to Richmond, being able to do the internships in Richmond and have that big city feel close by was really appealing as well. So those are a lot of the reasons I chose Randolph-Macon, and I stayed because of the overwhelming support every year, every minute that I was there, just not even realizing it, but everyone cares about you. The people who work in the dining hall, people who come and clean your room, the professors, the community, everyone cares about you, and the alumni. So I couldn't pass up the overwhelming support, but those are some of the reasons that we love Randolph-Macon. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to learn more about it. I see we don't have any questions, so I think that'll be the end of the session. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Faith and Zion, for sharing a little bit more about Randolph-Macon. And thank you guys for joining us. Just wanted to let you know that when you close this window, there's going to be a link. If you could fill out that survey, just quick 4 questions, and give us any feedback that you can. Also, this is just one of many sessions that CACRAO is hosting. So if you would like to view this again, you should be able to find the video of the recording in about a week's time. So thank you guys again, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Bye.